Sexual education of children. True education becomes stable only after the formation of conscience. Morality, measure, laws, religion, worldview are laid in conscience. Such beliefs are difficult to change. Conscience is more perceiving factor of spiritual species of man than the genotype of the biological species. Just as person always enjoys freedom, material wealth, so he can always enjoy love. But there is no absolutely complete freedom. It is limited by the freedom of other people. Material goods are not limitless. They are limited by our capabilities. Love also has its strict limit, but this limit can be observed only when it is laid down in conscience. Every child should be instilled in their conscience the principle of observing the great boundary of love, blood mixing. We call blood mixing sexual intercourse, the process in which new life can be born. I believe this feature, together with solidary responsibility to a defining character. There is a great boundary in love, a great limit that no one can cross whenever they please. This limit is only allowed to be crossed when we perform certain rituals, when we take on certain obligations, when we mature for this on a social scale. Each person reaches maturity not when they have grown up, strengthened their muscles, and are ready for reproductive function, but when they have reached social maturity and a correct conscience has been formed. Social maturity will come when we acquire the necessary professions, when we are able to purchase reliable housing, when we have a mature mind. The entire upbringing of child is divided into two stages that go hand in hand. On the first stage, the child gains experience. At the second stage, conscience is formed in parallel. Only such concept can be laid down in conscience that cannot be verified by one's own experience. The best condition for the formation of conscience as a family, but the process must continue in the right direction in other places as well. One of the greatest moral value of the formation of conscience is the establishment of a great boundary between love and blood mixing. Then, as the experience of love that is on this side of the great boundary and limits is gained, it is possible and necessary to do so. For this, it is necessary to provide greater freedom for the accumulation of the experience of love. For some reason, we are afraid always that our children will not see our love relationship. We are always afraid that something bad will happen in the future. And children grow, physiologically improve. This leads to the fact that our children gain experience of love through the curtain, on the side, and not always from the best side. Sometimes, due to a lack of example, love dreams take on fantastical outlines and impossible forms. This delays the study of this phenomenon, and we are afraid because we do not know how to draw the great limits between love and blood mixing, how to form a conscience. We already know that we can form a conscience only through mutual love and trust. What trust can we have if we hide something from those whose trust we want to have? The essence of the present material is to provide, along with the strict limitation of that great boundary, free development of that which it does not hinder the human essence but enriches it. It remains unclear how to resolve physiological sexual tensions that arise before the completion of social maturity. I cannot afford free fantasies on this topic, since they can currently be pursued only by certain categories of listeners. There are many ways to resolve sexual tensions. Already now a lot is said about this in books and the media. The only thing that is necessary in this case is to observe the great and sacred boundary between love and blood mixing. So there is something that's built into our genes, and when those genes start working, they release hormones into our blood that make us do this. It's faster to find a mate to satisfy our blood, to appease our genes. Often it happens spontaneously. Many people have children spontaneously and often at the wrong time. Physical maturity comes much earlier than social maturity. Children can be born as early as 13 to 14 years old. A young person who has reached physical maturity must already have a formed conscience, which must contain the following basic principles of family life. The principle of respecting the obligation and contracts assumed. Such is the marriage contract. I will substantiate this statement in a future blog about deception. The second principle of the great sacred boundary between love and blood mixing outside of marriage. Only then will such a principle become a conviction, when a permanent image of the enemy is formed in its violation. Only then will a person hate such an act that will cause him contempt and disgust, when he will be ready to bring the violator to punishment. And this is possible only if this is present in the mechanism of conscience. There are two difficulties in implementing this strict moral rule, which are associated with their observance. When a person has not yet entered into a marital relationship, and when he is already married. The first is related to how to solve problems with sexual tension, with the safe release of the energy of love outside. We will talk about the second in the next blogs about the family. Thank you for your attention.